My name is Emily. I grew up in the bustling city of New York, surrounded by towering skyscrapers, the constant hum of traffic, and the unending rhythm of city life. My parents were loving but cautious, always reminding me to focus on my studies and to make smart choices about my future. That summer, they planned a family vacation to California, promising sun-kissed beaches, scenic landscapes, and moments to cherish. I thought it would be just another ordinary trip, filled with snapshots and tourist attractions. Little did I know that this journey would introduce me to someone who would change the course of my life forever. On the second day of our trip, we visited a famous art gallery. The building was spacious, with high ceilings and walls adorned with colorful paintings. People moved around quietly, whispering to each other, their steps echoing softly. As I wandered from one painting to another, I noticed a boy standing alone in front of a large canvas. There was something magnetic about him, dark brown hair falling slightly over his forehead, eyes that seemed to hold oceans of thought, and a calm presence that drew me in. For a moment, I felt as though he belonged more to the art than to the bustling world around us. When our eyes met, I felt a jolt, as if a silent spark had ignited between us. He smiled softly, almost shyly, and my heart skipped a beat. I couldn't look away. A few minutes later, I found myself standing beside him, discussing the painting, the brush strokes, the colors, the emotions it evoked. His name was Ethan, a college student who was passionate about art, literature, and travel. His voice was gentle, carrying a warmth that seemed to seep straight into my soul. Every word he spoke felt like a soft caress, leaving me yearning for more, though we had only just met. Our conversation was brief, interrupted by the calls of our parents, but before we parted ways, Ethan leaned closer and whispered, "If you'd like, maybe we could meet again before you leave." My chest tightened, and without thinking, I nodded. That night, in my hotel room, I couldn't sleep. His words replayed in my mind, and his gaze haunted my thoughts. I kept telling myself it was just a fleeting encounter, a holiday memory that would fade, but deep down, I knew it was the beginning of something far more profound. The following evening, Ethan invited me to a quaint coffee shop near the beach. The aroma of roasted coffee beans mingled with the salty sea breeze. Sunlight streamed through the windows, casting a warm golden glow on his face. We sat across from each other for hours, talking about everything: the dreams we harbored, the fears we kept hidden, our families, our ambitions, and the little things that made us who we were. I realized that day that I had never connected with anyone so quickly, so deeply. Every glance, every word, every smile felt like it had been written in the stars long before we met. As the trip drew to an end, leaving California felt bittersweet. The memories of Ethan, his soft laugh, the way he looked at me when he thought I wasn't noticing, the gentle touch of his hand on mine, clung to my heart. I promised myself to cherish these moments, yet I knew they were only the beginning. My summer romance, delicate and tender, had taken root, and I couldn't imagine returning to New York without carrying a piece of him in my soul. Returning to New York after that magical summer felt strange. The city's familiar noise and chaos no longer comforted me the way it once did. Everywhere I looked, I seemed to see flashes of Ethan, his smile, the way sunlight had danced on his hair, the soft cadence of his voice as we spoke at the coffee shop by the beach. I couldn't stop thinking about him, and I found myself counting the days until we could meet again. Through calls and messages, we tried to stay connected, but nothing compared to being together, sitting across from each other, sharing the silence and laughter in person. The longing between us grew stronger with every passing day. By the following semester, both of us ended up enrolling in the same college. It felt like fate had intervened once more. Seeing him on campus for the first time was like a jolt of electricity. I couldn't stop smiling, and I knew he felt the same. Our days quickly became intertwined, library sessions that turned into long discussions about life, classes where we secretly passed notes, coffee breaks that stretched into hours of conversation. Every moment spent with Ethan deepened the connection that had started so innocently that summer. One chilly autumn evening, we found ourselves walking together along the tree-lined paths of the campus garden. The leaves crunched softly beneath our feet, and the sky was painted in hues of orange and pink. I felt a shiver of anticipation as he brushed a strand of hair from my face. His hand lingered near mine, and I didn't pull away. Instead, I let him hold it. The warmth of his fingers against mine was electrifying, a silent promise that words couldn't express. For the first time, I realized that love wasn't just about longing or fleeting moments, it was about the quiet, tender gestures that spoke volumes. As weeks passed, our relationship blossomed. We discovered the simple joys of being together, late-night study sessions at his apartment, sharing sandwiches and laughter in the campus cafeteria, sneaking into quiet corners of the library just to steal a few moments together. Every touch, every whisper, every shared secret made my heart swell with a happiness I had never known. One night, sitting under the dim glow of his desk lamp, he gently held my face in his hands and kissed me. It was soft, lingering, and full of unspoken promises. I felt as if time had paused, the world outside disappeared, leaving only the two of us wrapped in a cocoon of warmth and love. Our romance wasn't without its challenges. Families, expectations, and the pressure of college life often weighed heavily on us. I remember crying on his shoulder one rainy evening, overwhelmed by the fear that life might pull us apart. Ethan held me close, his fingers gently brushing away my tears, whispering, "No matter what happens, we'll face it together. I'm not going anywhere." In that moment, I realized that love was not just the joy of being together, it was also the courage to stand by each other through hardships, to offer comfort and strength when the world seemed harsh. By the time graduation approached, our bond had become unbreakable. We were no longer just two people who had met on a summer trip. We had grown together, shared dreams, and built a love that was resilient and true. Yet, ahead of us lay the uncertainty of life beyond college, the reality of jobs, responsibilities, and the challenges that adulthood brings. Despite that uncertainty, I knew one thing for sure: whatever the future held, Ethan and I would face it together, hand in hand, heart to heart, our love carrying us through every storm and triumph alike. College life had become a beautiful rhythm for us. Every morning, I would rush across campus, hoping to catch a glimpse of Ethan before classes began. His presence had become my anchor, the thought of him keeping me awake at night and motivating me through long study sessions. We found joy in the smallest of moments, sharing earbuds on a long walk to the library, laughing over inside jokes no one else could understand, lingering near the campus fountain just to watch the sunset together. It was a love that grew quietly but powerfully, weaving itself into every corner of my life. One evening, after finishing a long day of lectures and projects, Ethan invited me to his apartment. The apartment was modest but cozy, filled with books, sketches, and memories of our time together. We cooked dinner side by side, playfully bumping into each other, stealing tastes from the same plate, and laughing at our clumsy attempts at teamwork. Afterward, we sat close on the small sofa, the soft hum of the city outside blending with the steady beat of our hearts. I felt his hand brush against mine, a gentle touch that made me shiver with anticipation. Slowly, carefully, we intertwined our fingers, savoring the warmth and comfort of each other's presence. Our love deepened with time, and with it came moments of tenderness that left lasting impressions on my heart. On rainy nights, we would sit by the window, watching droplets race down the glass as Ethan tucked a strand of hair behind my ear. We whispered secrets, shared dreams, and sometimes simply held each other in silence, letting the weight of the world melt away. There were moments when he would gently cup my face, brushing his thumb across my cheek, wiping away tears I didn't even realize were falling. Each kiss, each touch, was a language only we understood, a bond that grew stronger with every heartbeat. Despite the joy, life often tested us. Arguments over misunderstandings, moments of jealousy, and the pressure of exams sometimes threatened to overshadow our happiness. Yet, every challenge only strengthened our connection. Ethan had a way of grounding me when I felt anxious, his voice calm and steady as he whispered reassurance. I, in turn, would hold him close when he doubted himself, reminding him of the unwavering trust and love that existed between us. We learned that love wasn't just passion and laughter, it was patience, understanding, and the willingness to stand together even when life became difficult. One night, under a blanket of stars, we shared our deepest dreams. I confessed my fears about the future, about the uncertainties of life beyond college, and he held me close, whispering that we would face it all together. Our hearts beat in unison, our lips met in a kiss that was both tender and passionate, sealing promises we hadn't yet spoken aloud. In that quiet moment, I realized that our love had become a safe haven, a world where nothing else mattered except the two of us. As the semester progressed, we began exploring new places together, small restaurants tucked away in quiet streets, hidden corners of the city where only we could find peace. Each adventure, each shared laugh, and every stolen moment of intimacy deepened the tapestry of our relationship. By the end of the college year, we were no longer just students in love. We were partners, soulmates, two hearts intricately bound, ready to face the challenges of life beyond the campus gates, confident that no distance or hardship could ever diminish what we shared. Graduation day arrived, and with it came a mix of joy and fear. The excitement of completing our studies was tempered by the looming reality of life beyond college. We stood together in our caps and gowns, holding hands tightly as if the physical connection could shield us from the uncertainties ahead. Ethan looked at me with those same warm brown eyes that had captivated me years ago, and I knew without a doubt that our love had become our anchor. Yet, even as we celebrated, a silent worry lingered in both our hearts. How would we survive the challenges life had in store without the comfort of our family's constant support? We moved into a small apartment, far from the bustling streets of New York, taking our first steps into adulthood. Money was tight, responsibilities overwhelming, and every day seemed to bring a new struggle. But Ethan's hand on mine, his reassuring smile, reminded me that we were in this together. Nights were spent in quiet conversations about budgets, future plans, and dreams of a life built on love and trust. Despite the exhaustion, every glance, every gentle touch, every whispered "I love you" made the hardship seem smaller, almost bearable. Work became a reality we could not ignore. I found a job in someone else's home, helping care for their household, while Ethan took on labor-intensive jobs to support us. Our bodies ached at the end of the day, but our hearts were full. We shared stories of our struggles, wiping each other's tears, comforting and encouraging one another. There were nights when I would rest my head against his shoulder, feeling the warmth of his embrace and knowing that no matter how heavy the world became, our love would never falter. Every good morning and good night was a promise that we would endure, survive, and thrive together. Even in hardship, we found moments of intimacy and tenderness. A simple dinner at home turned into a small celebration, where we laughed, held hands, and kissed softly across the tiny kitchen table. We learned that love did not always require grand gestures. Sometimes it was the quiet act of holding someone close, brushing a strand of hair from their face, or speaking words of comfort when the night seemed endless. Those moments became the lifeblood of our relationship, sustaining us through every trial. One evening, as rain poured outside our modest apartment, Ethan held me tightly, whispering, "No matter what, Emily, we'll make it. Together, always." Tears slid down my cheeks, mingling with his own as we clung to each other. It was in these moments of vulnerability that our bond strengthened beyond anything we had ever imagined. Love had become more than just passion. It was resilience, trust, and an unspoken promise that no hardship could sever our hearts. Despite the difficulties, our dreams persisted. We spoke of a future filled with laughter, a home of our own, and someday, a family. And then, amidst the struggles, we discovered the most beautiful surprise of all: we were going to have a child. Holding our baby in our arms for the first time, the weight of all our sacrifices seemed to vanish. Every tear, every sleepless night, every aching day had led to this moment. We whispered promises to our child, and to each other, that love would always guide us, no matter how difficult life became. Life with our newborn brought a new kind of joy, but also new challenges we had never faced before. Nights were long and sleepless, filled with cries and endless diaper changes, and our small apartment often felt too cramped for our dreams and our worries. Yet, every time I looked at Ethan holding our baby, his eyes soft and filled with awe, my heart swelled with love. It was a love stronger than any hardship, deeper than any exhaustion. The struggle seemed smaller when I saw the way he whispered lullabies, brushing the baby's hair gently, his hands trembling slightly from both fatigue and tenderness. I began working even harder, taking jobs in other homes to provide for our family. The labor was exhausting, my hands sore, but seeing Ethan and our baby waiting for me at home gave me strength. We shared every burden, every worry, and every small victory. Sometimes, after long days, we would sit together in the dim light of our tiny apartment, holding our child between us, and talk about the future. One day, Ethan would say, "We'll have a home full of laughter and light. One day, it'll all be worth it." Those words became a mantra, carrying us through every hardship. Even amidst exhaustion, our love never faded. Late at night, when the baby finally slept, Ethan would pull me close, brushing a strand of hair from my face, holding my cheek in his hand, and kissing me softly. Those quiet, intimate moments reminded me that despite the struggles, we were still a couple in love, not just parents burdened by responsibilities. Every whisper, every touch, every shared glance rekindled the passion and tenderness that had drawn us together years ago. We learned to cherish these small, fleeting moments because they were ours alone. There were days when tears flowed freely. I would cry over bills I couldn't pay, Ethan would cry over jobs that didn't pay enough, and together we would hold each other close, letting our sorrow mingle before it turned into strength. In those moments, I realized that love was not just about happiness, it was about enduring hardship together, offering comfort when the world felt unbearable, and finding hope in each other's arms. Our connection had deepened beyond passion, it had become a lifeline. And yet, even in the midst of struggle, life gifted us tiny wonders.
Or babies first log, et an estri enfant smile when et managet to fix something broken at home, the key morning when the three of us sat together, sipping tea and watching the sunrise.
These moments, though simple, felt magical. They reminded us that love could be both gentle and fierce, tender and enduring, shaping our lives in ways we had never imagined. Every challenge we faced only cemented our bond, making our family stronger and our hearts fuller. Through it all, we promised each other something sacred. No matter the hardships, no matter the tears or exhaustion, our love would never fade. We would raise our child with stories of courage, patience, and devotion. We would show them that love, when true and unwavering, could survive any storm. And as I looked at Ethan holding our sleeping baby, the soft glow of the night surrounding them both, I knew with certainty that our love, tested, tried, and strengthened by life, was unbreakable. As the years passed, life became a rhythm of hard work, love, and resilience. Every day brought new challenges. Ethan had taken on grueling labor jobs, often leaving him exhausted and bruised, but he never returned home without a smile for me and our child. I worked tirelessly in other households, often skipping meals just to make sure our little one had enough. Yet, even in the most difficult moments, we found comfort in each other. We shared our fears openly, about money, our future, and the sacrifices we had to make, and those shared vulnerabilities only brought us closer. One rainy evening, after a particularly hard day, I found myself breaking down in the tiny kitchen of our apartment. Ethan held me against his chest, his hand running gently over my back, murmuring soothing words. "We've made it this far," he whispered, "and we'll make it even further. Together." I could feel the warmth of his love wrapping around me like a protective shield, easing the weight of my exhaustion. In that embrace, I realized that love was not just passion and happiness, it was endurance, patience, and unwavering support, even when life seemed relentless. Despite the exhaustion and struggles, we continued to find little moments of intimacy and romance. A simple dinner at home could turn into an evening of laughter, whispered confessions, and soft kisses that left my heart racing. Sometimes, late at night, when the apartment was quiet and the baby slept, Ethan would trace my hand with his fingers, brushing away the stress of the day with gentle touches and tender words. Every small gesture, every stolen moment, became a lifeline that kept our love alive amidst the hardships. There were times when hope felt distant, when bills piled up and the weight of responsibility threatened to crush us. Yet, we never allowed despair to dominate our hearts. We reminded each other of our dreams, of the life we were building together, and of the family we cherished. Every obstacle became a shared burden, every tear a shared expression of love. We learned that love could survive not just because of joy, but because of shared struggles and the unwavering belief that we were stronger together. One evening, as we watched our child sleep peacefully, I felt a profound sense of gratitude. All the sleepless nights, all the hardships, every sacrifice, it had brought us here, to this moment of quiet happiness and enduring love. Ethan took my hand in his, pressing it gently against his chest. "No matter what happens, Emily, we'll always have each other," he said. And in that simple, heartfelt statement, I understood the truth of our journey. Love was not measured by ease or luxury, but by devotion, resilience, and the courage to face life together, hand in hand. Through every struggle, every tear, and every triumph, our bond deepened. We laughed, we cried, we argued, and we forgave. And as we held our child together, feeling the warmth of family and the strength of love, I knew that no matter how harsh life became, we would always emerge stronger, our hearts intertwined, our spirits unbroken, our love eternal. Years passed, and the little apartment that once seemed so small became a home filled with laughter, love, and memories. Our child grew, filling our lives with joy and wonder, and even the hardships seemed lighter when shared together. Ethan and I had learned that life would never be easy, but we had also learned that love could carry us through every trial, every tear, and every sleepless night. We had built a family not of wealth or ease, but of unwavering devotion and shared dreams. Even on the most difficult days, when work left us exhausted and bills loomed over our heads, Ethan's hand on mine and our child's laughter reminded me of what truly mattered. We celebrated small victories, a fixed appliance, a completed project at work, or a quiet morning when everyone was healthy and safe. Every challenge overcome together became another thread in the tapestry of our love. I realized that happiness was not in luxury or comfort, but in the quiet certainty that we had each other, always. Our evenings were often quiet and intimate. After tucking our child into bed, we would sit together, talking softly about our dreams, our fears, and our hopes for the future. Ethan would brush my hair back, cup my face, and kiss me softly, as if reaffirming the promises we had made so many years ago. These tender moments reminded me that even in the most ordinary life, love could be extraordinary. It was in these small gestures that we found the magic of our relationship, soft, steady, and unwavering. Time tested us in ways we could never have imagined. There were moments of doubt, moments when exhaustion threatened to overwhelm us, moments when the world outside our home felt unkind and unrelenting. Yet, through every trial, we held on to each other. We cried together, laughed together, and leaned on each other when the weight of life became too heavy. And in those moments, I understood the true power of love, not just the passion and excitement of youth, but the quiet, enduring strength that keeps two people bound together against all odds.